what it was like before and what it's like now. And what it was like during the transition time. What it was like before is it looked like I was winning on the outside. I had a lot of money. I had just bought my 5th house. I was in the Miss DC USA pageant. I modeled for Playboy. I was one of the models who was paid to just go into the pool, and they wanted a fantasy environment, so they paid these particular types of models to take their top off. And at the Playboy Mansion, they want you to think that these women just randomly do this, but actually we are just paid models. So I modeled at the Playboy Mansion, but I would never do any print or film. I could have. I was in the Miss DC USA pageant because it was classy. I considered myself classy, and everyone else did. And on the outside, things were looking good. I was getting $14,000 a month in child support. I had a world famous father who did a short film with Joan Crawford. It was on the Johnny Carson show, a regular guest. And not only was he world famous, he was incredible, the best of our time at violin, and very, very charismatic and good looking. There was a lot to be proud of. Like him, I had addiction. And I had trauma. And underneath, none of that trauma was healed. Since I was a little girl, I also had a very famous and rich and powerful grandfather, Arthur H. Davis, ambassador and friend to Ronald Reagan, ambassador of Panama and Paraguay, asked to be ambassador of Chile. And under Panama, he was ambassador under President Bush. My grandfather, being the family pedophile, was excused because of his power and rich and fame. And my mother told me that, oh, it's all lies. Underneath, I was still healing. I had my skin crawling because my boyfriend was paying me. Men used to pay me $8,000 to $12,000 to $14,000. I mean, if you could afford it, I would go on a date with you. Didn't mean I was going to hook up with you because I needed to numb out first. I needed drugs and alcohol. Alcohol, cocaine, cigarettes. Those 3 together. So before, it looked on the outside like everything was great, but really, my kids, my beloved Dylan, Rose, and Kristen, you will not hear me talk about them that much because I am respecting their anonymity. My children are amazing, incredible jewels. And when my son Dylan was born in 2008, my heart grew 1,000 times bigger. I still couldn't get sober. When my son Chris was born, I got sober for a little. I asked for help and no one would help me. I learned that no one's going to help you. They just drug tested my baby because I told him, like, look, I really want to stay sober. I couldn't stay sober. No. And with my gorgeous daughter, Rose, by then I knew not to say anything, not to even ask for help, and I couldn't even get sober during my pregnancy. And I was doing alcohol, cocaine, and cigarettes because that was the 3 things that I kept doing until August 2nd, 2018, my sober birthday. And it took all three kids of mine being born. It took losing all 3 kids of mine. 12 days later, I got sober. And after that, things changed a lot. There was no more like Playboy Mansion parties or glorious parties or doing any of that. During my transition period, there was a time when I was eating out of trash cans and sleeping on a fence. And there was a time that I slept next to a concrete wall that smelled like pee. And there was times that I would just pretty much eat whatever. Like, I would just eat off the ground. Because I was starving. And I would go days without eating. I would eat refined sugar, things I would never put in my body because I was starving. And I still never lost my sobriety. I've been sober from drugs and alcohol this whole entire time. And being California sober, which means even refined sugars and such, and foods like that, which it's been a practice. Like, I have eliminated these things from my diet, where at the end of my homelessness, I would eat out of the trash can, and I would eat like gluten and refined sugar because there was no other options and I was starving. But once I was in a homeless shelter, once I was able to kind of get things together and I wasn't in this like fight flight mode, I was able to start becoming sober from gluten and sober from refined sugar. The only reason why I kept having refined sugar and gluten and things that were not supposed to be in my diet, even like sometimes meat and stuff like that I didn't want to eat, because there was no other food options. And I needed to leave market economy. And then I learned about stealing, that there's certain locations. If I go to CVS or Whole Foods in Venice Beach and I only take what I need, I don't take more, I don't take less. If I go to Sephora, I just take what I need, I don't take more, I don't take less. Like, I make sure that I'm willing to go without until I know exactly what I need, and then I just take what I need. I don't take more, because then I'm taking out of the flow of abundance for everyone else, and then I have to carry it around and take care of it, and I don't need it. And if I take less than what I need, I'm not being truthful, I'm not being honest to the universe, I'm not telling the universe what I need. I spent a lot of time in scarcity during the transition period of being asleep and selling my body because I was a sugar baby, and I would recreate the relationship with my grandfather, find someone way older than me who made my skin crawl just like him, and that person would pay me an allowance. And it took getting arrested for prostitution, because I called the cops on myself, and this guy gave me $2,000, and even though we didn't hook up, you can't pay for a date for $2,000. And I mean, I don't know why I got arrested actually, but that was my wake-up call. And that was on July 21st, 2018. And the morning of the 22nd of July, 2018, CPS came and told me, we're taking your kids. And my whole world, like, you know, that was when I started to transition. That triggered my awakening, you guys. And I remember this profound surge of love when my first child was born in 2008. June 26th, my gorgeous sweet Muffin, my firstborn, my little baby, I would call him Muffin. And his name was Colin Vin. That's what Dylan's name was. I changed it to Dylan. Little cutie pie Colin Vin, I called him Muffin. My heart exploded. And then in 2018, when they took all three of my kids, you know, it was the death of me and the birth of a new woman. A new woman who you see now, who, when I was in the Miss DC USA pageant, walking down the catwalk thing and, you know, watching the other girls, and even if I won Miss DC USA title and they were like, isn't she lovely? Isn't she? That's what they play, you know, when you win it. And I remember thinking, like, what would it be like to have won? Because I was in the Miss DC pageant. I was not even a pageant girl. It's just I got approached by one of the judges. He was like, you got what it takes. Do it. So I did. And I actually lived in Virginia. I didn't even live in Washington, D.C. That was my life. Like, I was at the A-list parties. I was hanging out with celebrities. But I was dead inside, and now I'm alive. And now I live my life differently. I don't touch money. I would rather go to grocery lines and, you know, get the flowers and food, because I don't like cutting flowers, and I don't believe in enslaving plants, but I do love flowers and plants, so I'll get the ones that the humans didn't get, that no one's gonna get, and I'll go where the poor people go. And I get my food from there. I like to go to biodiversified food forests. There's one at the Venice High School, and there's one at the Venice Fire Station. And I can go there. I can get whatever fruits and vegetables I want. And I like meeting my needs. Now where I'm at is I have my own space. I went through a period of time when I was trying to figure it out where I slept next to a cement wall that smelled like pee. This one night I was like, I'm not sleeping next to that wall again. But I know what that's like. I know what it's like to be like, oh dang, this wall has pee on it. And to feel secure and feel familiarity sleeping on the sidewalk next to that concrete wall, like that being my spot and me being okay with that. You know, I know what that's like. And that was part of my transition, because I knew that before, when I was in that gorgeous house, 2524 9th Avenue, 90018, Los Angeles, California, my legal name, Lindsay Davis. I was the owner. That's like a $2 million house right now. Look it up. Keeps going up. It was $1.5 million last time I checked. And that's where I lived. You could see all my furniture, my kids' toys. I needed to leave that life to awaken. And now the community has come together and deemed that I shall receive not enough to live on. $220 a month general relief, $280 for food, that's less than $10 a day for food. And the world has deemed that I shall live on this. And I really don't got much else to do except for create a global liberation, and that's where I'm at now. Because in the depths of my despair, right before I became homeless, I decided, what if I created a superhero? What if she's there? And I name her Daisy the Venice Healer, and she emerges to liberate us, because we need her. We need a light being who never ever wavers from the path, who is pure love and source energy, spirit manifested, to speak from Mother Gaia and the vulnerable, so that our love and care can come forth using the least amount of force and control. And Daisy the Venice Healer was created from all of this, you know. And you guys almost had a Miss USA. I was in the Miss DC USA pageant. You guys almost had the Playboy Playmate of the Year, except I chose not to model and do all that because I wanted to keep it low key. But then they came and took my kids, you know. They came and they took my kids, and they forced me to blast off. They forced me to have awakening, you know. They forced me to be like this, and here I go. Blasting off is part of the journey. Blasting off is part of what Daisy the Venice Healer is here to tell you about, because we blast off when we find our meaning and purpose, and we find our soul tribe, and we blast even more. And that is what I am here to share. I am here to share that all of us can learn through healing and integration and doing this work. And it's not through punishing and separating and withholding needs and separating families like mine. It's through global liberation, by meeting needs and having our universal needs lead the way, not merit-based systems where we pay people and vote, because paying and voting means that you don't have love and care. And if you don't need willingness and capacity or love and care, and you could just pay and raise money and voting, then you're going to have a disaster, because it's not going to be relational. We can't be like that anymore. And that's what I'm here to say. I'm here to awaken us and unite us. As Daisy the Venice Healer, I'm here to awaken us, let you know you're a superhero with a meaning and purpose, and that it's time to gather and get your soul tribe on. Because you need your super squad. You're not here to do it alone. And that's where I'm at now. So I started as like, I was together. I thought I had all these people riding my coattails. I went to over 40 countries with my boys, and I would always take friends with me, traveling with 2 or 3 friends, and all of their kids, paying for everyone. And I would take kids on vacations with me and to resorts with me, and pay for parents and pay for everyone, because I didn't want to be alone. But those were not my friends. I found out when all the money and my kids were gone. No one was there for me. No one wanted to back me up or help support me or help me get my kids back. I just had people writing letters against me. My own family. The people who had my kids, the caregivers, the foster families, writing letters against me. My social workers, judges, like, not asking me, how do I support you, but talking about what was wrong with me and giving me page after page after page of what is wrong. It devastated me. and it made me who I am now. So that's what it was like back then, what it was like when I transitioned, and what it's like now is I'm building my empire. Something new and something big is coming. So hold on and get ready for a ride, because it's coming fast. And I want all of us to enjoy blasting off with our meaning and purpose, because it is our love that is what is up. Because our love and our heart's true purpose is a combination of our trauma, what we've been through, and the incredible positive change that we are here to bring, supported by our gifts and talents. Our meaning and purpose is a beautiful golden jewel. And now that I am in touch with that, I am a public speaker. I'm here to start the Free the Animals campaign to create a global liberation. I'm a published author. The 5 Steps of Global Liberation is now a thing. I'm going to create an autobiography. I can't wait for you guys to read. And I believe in a more beautiful world, a world that I know that your hearts know is possible. So get ready and welcome to a new, more beautiful earth. I live in spiritual joy. $220 a month general relief. That's supposed to get my conditioner, like all of my supplies, everything I need. If I want to put money on a Starbucks card, not that I would do that, but yes, you got to figure out what you're going to get your needs met and what needs are not going to get met, and that's not right. But I would rather live with not enough, and that's where I'm at right now. I'm creating this empire. I'm creating the abundance. It's been coming. It's been coming slow. For 5 years, I've been chronically homeless up until 2 weeks ago. I was housed the end of March 2025, and it's now the beginning of April. Surprise! You're going to see a new me soon. You're going to see more of Daisy the Venice healer, the light being made of love, here to doop-a-doodle-doo boop you on the nose. Boop! Here we go.